value. So let's look at a graph. So if you look at the graph that we have established, is this one, right? Now you can write a piecewise function. So you can write how many pieces? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pieces. Okay. So 4 pieces of this function. Now I'm gonna just write in 2 pieces because I can do it a little better job because I can use absolute value. Yes. So I can do an absolute value, and the absolute value is going to be much more efficient. So I'm going to write this function. I'm going to just write in 2 pieces, and you guys should get your computer out. Do it with me, so that way you know what I'm doing. So I'm going to use something called absolute value function, because this one I'm going to help you. Otherwise, you have to write in 4 pieces. So this is how you check your answer here. So f of x equal to, what's the vertex of this one at? It's at -3, +3. So I'm going to use a absolute value function instead, and we're going to go over how to do that. So absolute value function, and it's going to be minus, and then it's going to be +3 and +3, like this. So if you realize that this one here is look like this piece right here, this piece right here, do you see that? Basically, it's an absolute value function, and we're going to talk about a transformation moving left, which is inside a parenthesis, which is inside the absolute value, and go up 3. So if I do that, I'm going to have this. But also, I'm going to have some restriction. What's that restriction? Between what? Can somebody tell me the restriction? Between -5 maybe? Less than x? And less than what? Somebody look at the graph. Huh? 2 or maybe 2 or 3? It's 2 or 3. You gotta tell me. I think it's 2. Is that okay? And I'm gonna write another function. I'm gonna say g of x, because I need to use a 2 separate function here to represent 2 different ways. It's equal to what? What is this function right here? What will be that function? This piece. Come on now. Y equal to what? I can use y equal to mx plus b. It'll be easier here. 1/2x. What's the y-intercept? -3. Because this line, if you track it back, is -3. So this is -3. So I am gonna say 1/2 x minus 3, and let's connect that part, and then have a brace. Brace what? Between where? 2 and 4. Okay, so less than x, less than 4. Boom, done. And I have h of x. So I have h of x plus what? Equal to, I think, -1. Does that make sense? And between what? 1 and what? 4 and 6. Are you typing this in? Because I'm trying to help you. Jayla, you gotta try. Even I don't look at that side, I'm still looking at you. And once you got this, you got this. Beautiful graph. Now all you gotta do is do transformation. Look at it. If I say it's +2 on all of them, I don't know, is one question asking you to do +2? Then, huh? Oh, -2? So, okay, sorry, you don't do it here. You're gonna do f of x -2, and you're gonna do g of x -2, and you're gonna do h of x -2. And you could check your graph like this. Boom. Oops, yeah. Do you see that? You can tell the function to do transformation on each individual pieces. What's the second question you want to check your answer? So you can check your answer now. This is what it's supposed to look like. What's the next one? What's the next one you want to check your answer? Huh? L, what's the L? -2f. Okay, -2. Okay, F. +2, okay. And you're going to do that to all of them. -2, F of, and you can check your answer like this. So this today, you're going to learn how to build your piecewise function using this, and you can actually really truly master the skill. This is h of x. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to g of x here. And -2 of h of x minus 1 +2. And this is what your graph is supposed to look like. Now, I'm not asking you to cheat. I'm asking you to do it first and check your answer and see why your graph is this way. If you can do that, you are phenomenal. If you do it correctly, even better. But if you can find mistakes, why is this graph this way as opposed to the other way? You think about it, right? I'm going to show you how do I transform this graph. So I'm going to take this graph, right? A lot of people say, how do I do it? How do I do it by hand? So this original graph. I am going to follow order operation because transformations still follow order operation. And I got to just do 1 point. If I do 1 point, I can do all the point. Are you guys paying attention to me? So this point is moving which direction? Right one. So right one. And what's the next order operation? Add to? What? What's up to? It's actually not going up to. No, this -2 is a multiplier. Because order operation, what happened? Order operation happened, move right one, and then multiply the y value by -2 first. Does that make sense? Your transformation, okay, Ashton, you have one important job. If Ian falls asleep, you're allowed to kick him. Yeah, see, so he just falls asleep, so you're not doing your job. And Ian, if you were to stand up, would have helped a lot. So nobody had to kick you. Ashton's too nice to kick you. You can tell she's too nice. Okay, so what this point's gonna do is gonna multiply y by -2. Does that make sense? Because they follow order operation. It does not move 2 first and then multiply by -2 because your answer is completely changed if you do that. So you're gonna multiply this by -2 and then add an up to. So this point is move right one. Is that okay? And then multiply by -2. So this is 1. And multiply by -2 is going to be what? -2. Good. So it's going down here, right? That's the second step. And then go up to. Guess what? I got this point right here. Do you see how it works? Make sure you follow order operation. Because if you don't, the answer is a little bit changed. And that's wrong. The order operation tells you one way the other way. Now, I'm going to try this point. So let's try this point here. Again, move right 2. Once I write down one direction, yes.
If this is based off the homework questions, the homework didn't have x minus 1. It was just -2 half of x plus 2.
It's the next one. It's the next one. Okay, no, that's good. Yes.
Could you explain the multiplying by -2.
Yeah, so think about it this, right? This is -2 times f of x. F of x is y value. So you take the y multiplied by the front. The number in the front becomes a multiplier. We call that number in the front is actually a vertical stretch or compressed value. But I actually just shrink everything down because it's supposed to happen a reflection first because of negative sign. And then there is a vertical stretch. So there's reflection and vertical stretch. But if you think a multiplier is way faster, all you gotta do is take a y value and multiply by -2. But in terms of math, you need to understand that they did have a stretch. It's called vertical stretch because something greater than 1 is going to be a vertical stretch. And the negative sign is going to reflection. So it's actually happened 2 operations, but I just shrink down to 1. Does that make sense? But in terms of, if they will ask you how many vertical stretch is, you're going to say vertical stretch of 2 and reflection of 1. Reflection to the x-axis. Yes, Armin?
But I don't understand why we just went out.
Oh, because we'll talk about that when we. No, you're supposed to build 4-piece function. I'm just being lazy, so I can do it in 3. So I can use absolute value function because I'm gonna teach you how to do that next week.
We just go there, stop.
Yeah, it's an absolute value going left 3 and up 3, and then reflect. But we're not gonna go do that until next week when we talk about quadratic and the absolute value. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, today you're going to learn how to do auto transformation, and you're going to do it right on the graphing paper. You cannot just do it on a normal paper because graphing paper, if you don't print it out at graphing grids, it helps you. Okay, so now this point is going to be the same thing. I'm going to move right 1. You see that it's correct. If I move right 1 here, right? And then multiply y by -2. So this y value is what? 3. And multiply by -2 is what? -6. So it's going to go all the way here. You're going to go boom all the way to the other side. And then, wait, hold on a second. Did I count wrong? Oh. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go all the way here and then go up 2. And I got my second point. And you had to do that for all the points. Then you can graph new transformations. But what technically happened is it transferred to the right 1 unit, reflect, stretch, and add 2. But that's too complicated. If you think about multiplier, you can reduce 1 step. Take the y value, multiply by -2, and you're done. Does that make sense? Anybody need me explain further? It's okay? You're going to do your homework, and you're going to check your answer. If you have problem naming that function, I will help you name it. But you're going to try to name your function first. See if you can match that graph. That become a new skill. Every day I'm adding a different skills on your tools. And every skill is going to count for you on SAT or AP Calc, Pre-Calc. But those skills is not other class can get. This class is only class can teach you that. And I promise you, this is only in class. My 4th grade kids can do this. And my son, he's 3rd grade. He can do this. We're trying to draw a Kirby, but we didn't know how to draw that thing. The feet and the ear. Does he have ear? He doesn't have ear?
Circle with 2 feet.
Oh, okay. We're going to figure out how to draw that. But yeah, my kids can know how to draw that. So the thing is about it is you have to learn, start from scratch, go in learning those tricks. Trust me, I have a student at MIT. All she did, and I have another student at Georgia Tech. His name is Jacob Glenn. He says I didn't teach him anything all year. The only thing I teach him is how to use desmos. So he just learned all the math through desmos. All the math. You got to learn how to use that. That becomes your tool so that nobody is emphasized on. Now everybody is regretting for it because that PSAT was obviously, it shows up there. And my student were way more prepared, I think. Okay, next question. I think one of the question doesn't work out. I forgot which one is it. I think somebody say this one. Lena, you said this one doesn't work out, or the other one? This one? H? H inverse of 5. That means, oh yeah, it doesn't have 5 because I can count. Sorry. H inverse of 5. This one doesn't work. But how about I? Does I work? K inverse of -2. That means H inverse of -1. And H inverse of -1 is F of -4. And F of -4 is equal to -3 times -4 squared plus 1. That's equal to -3 times 16 plus 1. And that's equal to -48 plus 1. That's equal to -47. Did anybody got that? Yes. Ashton? Good. Anybody did not get it, let me help you. Okay, Robert. Okay, so first of all, you're gonna look at, thank you for raising your hand. Because K of -1, that means we're looking at inverse function. Inverse function X and Y and swap. So that means I'm looking at, instead of X is -2, I'm looking at Y is -2. So Y is -2 is gonna be right here, -1. So then you're gonna figure out H inverse of -1. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go to H inverse of -1. I'm gonna go to H. Now, instead of looking at X equal to -1, I'm looking at Y is -1. So which is right here. Now, if you track it back, that's gonna be -4. So that's F of -4. And the rest of them just plug in. Does that make sense? Yeah. Anybody need help with that? Good. I'm going to teach you graph one more thing. How do I graph inverse of, how do I graph absolute value of F? Okay. So this one's going to be hardest one on your test, is to understand how to graph this transformation. This is not in a normal transformation that is happened in the pre-calc, but it does make very, very cool graph. So if I have a graph like this, and they don't teach this in algebra either. So if I have this, okay, so I'm gonna connect this down. I probably had to change it a little bit. Sorry. I'm due here. I'm due here. Okay, so let's just say if I have this is f of x. How do I graph absolute value f of x? What do you think? Charlotte? Okay, so what do you think graph is gonna look like?
The points with positive y values would change the points with negative y values would be reversed.
Okay, so are you talking about this one here? It's gonna change to here. Okay. So how would you graph it though? You're right. Negative would change to positive, but the graphing part is kind of tricky. Yes, Armin? Huh?
Like let's say it goes to 0 instead of going like, just keep going back.
Right. So anytime that you see the x-intercept, they're gonna start reflecting. Does that make sense? And that's here is gonna reflecting, and that's fine. And this part here is gonna reflecting like this, and that becomes the new graph. So anything that becomes negative, but it starts changing when they cross x-axis. A lot of people did it differently, and that's wrong. But as soon as they go to x-axis, whatever the negative part of the graph is going to reflect. Does this make sense? Because whatever negative part is going to reflect. Is that yes?
So if we had like a straight line, a negative straight line,
Uh-huh.
would it go to 0 or would it go
Go to positive.
where?
So if you have -2, like y go to -2,
it would go to-
and just becomes y go to +2. So today you're gonna learn how to graph transformation of absolute value of f of x. Usually they don't talk about this. Yen, I need you to stand up. Okay. I mean, here, how about this? Grab that big chair, that tall chair in the front over there. Use that chair because that chair doesn't make you feel like awkward. Use that chair. That chair. Yeah, that chair. Just grab that chair. Yeah, tall chair. Yes, that one. There we go.
I'm trying to think back on it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Just don't hit Jade. All right, does that make sense? Any part of negative becomes positive. Good? Okay, you already know how to find inverse function from last week. You already know how to do that. So question like this one here. Austin says there was a shorter way to do this question. Do you guys remember the shorter way? Do you remember the shorter way? Plug in what? Plug in 7 into where? Into y, good. So 7 equal to square root of x minus 2. Of course you can find inverse plug in 7. But there's also a quicker way is plug in 7. And then all you gotta do is subtract y on both sides, and it's 2 equal to square root x minus 2. And square that's equal to 4 is equal to x minus 2. And then x equal to 6. I think this is 6. And this is the yesterday's homework like this. And it should be a very easy question. I'm going to give you more review today, but it's going to be, all review is going to be based on transformation. When is your test? Probably next Thursday. No, next Tuesday, sorry, next Tuesday. It's going to have some old stuff in there. So all my tests is cumulative. You'll have to know all the shit from before. Just like anytime. You have to know all your stuff. The problem with all the tests is always not cumulative in math. You just learn one thing, you forget another thing. Learn one thing, forget another thing. I'm going to randomly pick the question I like, and you're going to have to figure out how to do it. So all the old tests for you to keep, for you to look over, do you know all the stuff? Yes? Tuesday we come back. What, Tuesday? Next Tuesday, right? We don't? That's perfect. Tuesday. Because we only have one more thing we need to cover, which is even function, which is going to do that right now. We have 10 minutes. And they're not hard. All right. Why we don't have school Monday? I work every day. I don't give a shit which day it is. All right. So what is even and odd function? Do you guys know what's even or odd functions? Never heard of it before? Anybody ever heard of it before? Okay, what does that mean? Don't remember. Okay, I'm gonna give it to you. Okay, so the definition is if you plug in negative x into the function and you got original x, that's called even. So even functions. If you plug in negative x into the function, it comes out negative f of x, which is the opposite of the original function. That's called odd functions. So you got even and odd. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to figure out how do we find what's the identity of even function. An even function has a symmetry. Do you guys know what symmetry too? Symmetry to what? Nathan?
It's the thing that splits it down the middle and it's symmetrical to others.
Almost.
Flex, kind of.
Yeah, you're right, but is you have to say it y-axis. Symmetry to y-axis. It's like your face. And that's your Jesus. No, I'm just kidding.
I like how to stray.
Your sister allow me to make fun of you.
Oh, sorry.
No, you also have a regular personality for me to make fun of. Trust me, I have to like you to make fun of you. I didn't like anybody else here.
You don't like Safa or Nelly?
Safa, I make fun of Safa. Okay, and then our function is symmetry to. Do you guys know what symmetry to? No, origin. Origin is 0, 0. If you guys know no, origin is 0, 0. It's symmetry to origin. This is gonna help you graphing. So how do you know if a function is symmetry to even function or odd function? Okay. So let's just say if f of x equal to x times x minus 1. And oh, also they can be neither function. So it can be neither even or odd. It can be neither even or odd because most of function can be neither even to odd. So what do you think f of x over x, f of x equal to x over x minus 1? Is this even or odd? Ian? What do you think? Is it even or odd functions? I need to have like a, you know what I can do, Ian? I should get like invent like electric shock here. Every time you fall asleep, it's like, huh? That doesn't work. That'd be pretty cool. I just shock you, huh? Ashton's not kick you. It's too nice. Mirona, are you nice enough? Okay, so what happened? Is this even or odd function? Do you guys know? Is it even? Okay, let's try it. So I'm gonna plug in negative x. What does that mean? That means everywhere you have x, you're gonna plug in negative x. So it's gonna be negative x here, right? Negative x minus 1. So this one's gonna be negative x over negative x minus 1. Does that look the same or opposite than before? Actually, it's not the same or opposite. Because if you factor out a bottom part, wait, that's plus 1, right? And this will end up to cancel out. That's equal to x over x plus 1. Wait, we can double make sure. Hold on a second. X over x minus 1 is not symmetry to, it's not symmetry to y-axis or origin. Because this is called a neither. I'm sorry, I give you a bad question to start with. This is a neither because it's not the same or opposite before. So how about this one? Is this even or odd? You have to be look complete the same or complete opposite. So x over x plus 1 is neither the same or opposite, so it's going to be neither. So this neither odd or even. What do you think about the second one? Is that even or odd? You will say odd, or some people say it's neither, but that's fine. Let's plug in to see what happens. If I plug in negative x squared minus 1, that's equal to negative x over x squared minus 1, right? That's just negative of x over x squared minus 1. Now remember, this is f of x. It's opposite of original function. So this is odd.
Would it be plus 1, right?
What do you mean?
It would be x over x squared plus 1 if you factor out the negative. So it would be negative.
No, I only factor out a negative on numerator. The bottom did not change. And you can verify this function with the graph. Look at the graph. X over what? X squared minus 1, right? This is symmetry to origin. Also, you're going to see some characteristic in origin. Pay attention to here. Look at the table. You are going to have some question today. I'm going to give you a table. I'm going to say, are this even or odd? Look at the table. Look at negative 2. It's negative 0.66667. Look at positive 2. It's what? It's opposite sign. You can try to check. Just try to check. Negative 3 and 3. Look at this. One's negative, one's positive. It doesn't matter what number is. And today you have homework about this. Because I will give you a table. I will say this even or odd. And you have to see it. If it's an odd function, it's going to have opposite. If I told you it's opposite, that if I told you it's odd function, then you're going to create a new number there. Yes. That's a good question. If I change this to square, then that becomes even function. Look at the pattern. Wait, hold on a second. This is x squared here. Look at the function here. They are like your face. Look, if I have year on this side, then I have year on this side. Symmetry to y-axis. So that means they both are same y value. Well, if you're like Jesus, then that's going to be different. I love you, Jesus. You're coming way earlier than that. The test score is like.
I know.
Come along. Where's Gina? Gina's always here along.
And it's like